Hey guys, today video we're gonna be talking about how to make money from Carousell. Because as mentioned in my last video, I enjoy doing dry runs on Carousell because I can test product whether the product is gonna sell well or not. So today I will be sharing with you guys how to make money from Carousell. Okay, first of all, if you're not sure about what Carousell is, it's actually a channel for people to trade, buy and sell items online. Okay, and initially when Carousell first started, a lot of people actually have the idea that Carousell is selling just second-hand stuff, people clearing out the stuff that they do not want from their house. So actually it's partially true, because nowadays Carousell is not just about people selling their second-hand stuff, but they also have many seller that is selling things that are brand new at a cheaper cost on Carousell. So today mainly what I'll talk about more is how do you make money from Carousell. Mainly the two things that a lot of people are selling online is they're selling services. For example, like events planning, like makeup artists, they're selling their service, and things like automotive car or bike spraying service. These are some of the services that are commonly seen on Carousell. Selling of products. Selling of products such as pre-order items or items that they have got ready stocks. Okay, so pre-order listing. What exactly is pre-order listing? So pre-order listings are actually listing that you're trying to sell items that you do not have the ready stocks. So what's so good about pre-order listing, especially for people who do not want to throw in too much money in terms of starting this e-commerce business and then selling on Carousell? This is a very good thing because you do not need to have a lot of capital when it comes to pre-order listing. You can get your buyers to place a 50% or 100% payment before you get that stock from your supplier or from the manufacturer or from wherever you are able to get your cheap stocks. So pre-order listing, first of all, you actually the advantage of pre-order listing is, first of all, you do not need to worry about dead stocks that is getting stuck in your warehouse at your storage space. So no dead stocks, that's number one. Okay, another advantage about pre-order listing is you do not need to have a lot of capital to get started. You can even start off with zero capital when it comes to creating pre-order listing on Carousell, which means you do not spend any amount until someone have placed an order with you before you actually send out the item to them. Okay, however, I have to remind you is you need to know your pre-order listing. How long is the process gonna take? Like for example, if you're gonna be getting your stock from China or getting your stock from US, wherever you're getting your stocks from, you need to know what is the lead time. Like for example, if I order the product after the person makes payment, so when and how long will that item comes to you? And you also need to buffer in the time that is required for you to send the item to the buyer. So usually on an average basis from China is around about 1 week to 2 weeks at max for you to get the item shipped to Singapore. So you need to know what's the lead time. And another thing, the downside I would say is, the downside about pre-order listing is that sometimes you're not able to you're not able to sell to people that are impulse buyer, because a lot of people who are impulsive buyer, like for example, I tend to get a lot of buyer that tell me, I need the clay mask, I need the mask today because I'm flying off tomorrow. If I don't have the mask, I need it immediately, that kind of thing. So you won't be able to close this kind of impulse buyer if your listing is a pre-order listing. So that's the downside about pre-order listing, I would say. And apart from that is, if you're someone who have only got round about, let's say you have got lesser than 5 or 10 reviews, naturally pre-order listing might not work very well, because people do not trust you. Like it or not, people do not trust someone who have got like 0 reviews. Okay, we as consumer naturally, before we buy something, right, we'll tend to check the person review. Do they have a decent amount of reviews, and how's the reviews like, before placing an order with that particular seller. So let's say if you're someone who have got 0 reviews, highly recommended for you to clock some review before creating any pre-order listing. Okay, so that's for pre-order listing. It's quite straightforward. Receive the money from the buyer. Okay, place an order for them with your manufacturer or supplier, and then get the item shipped directly either to your customer, or you can get the item shipped directly to you, then to the customer. It's up to your preference. Okay, so that's all for pre-order listing. So let's say if you are selling an item on Carousell, which you have got the ready stocks or physical stocks, in other words, some of the tips that you can actually consider trying is, first of all, you need to make sure that your price point is competitive among your competitors. If your price point is competitive, people will have the tendency to look at your adverts more frequently than the rest of your competitor. So first of all, price point is very important. Okay, so the second thing to take note is the transaction process. So the transaction process is, try to simplify your transaction process, because the simpler your transaction process, the more transaction you are able to do. Okay, let me give you an example. If you are living 15 minutes away from the MRT station, my advice to you is to get your customer to come over to your void deck, or come over to your area to meet for meetup. Because if you're going to be walking to the station, you're going to be spending that 15-20 minutes every single customer. You're going to be wasting a lot of time on every single customer. So you got to try to take control of your customer and get them to come to you instead of going to them. I'll usually give my customers 2 options. Mainly, they can self-collect from my blog, or they can actually opt for postage. Postage, okay, you must be wondering about postage. Then like that, I will need to pay for the postage, right? So my tip for you is include that postage charges in your item, which means if I'm trying to sell that item to my customer, I'll usually have already included that registered postage if your item is very costly or is very bulky to fit into that mailbox. So opt for registered postage or free normal mail. Okay, so you can actually let your customer choose between self-collection from your convenient area, or you can get them to opt for postage. This will ease the process in terms of the whole transaction. So that's one of the tips in terms of the transaction process. Okay, so for the next tip, it will be inventory management. Okay, what about inventory management? You need to know how long is your supplier or the manufacturer is able to send that item to you, so you can manage your inventory well. Take for example, if the item that you are selling takes around 1 week to get delivered to you. So in a week itself, you're selling round about maybe 10 or 30 pieces. So you need to know exactly when you want to restock and when you should place an order with your supplier. So inventory management is important, because you don't want to get into a situation where you do not have products to sell to your customer, or people have already placed an order with you, but they can't get the stocks from you due to whatsoever reason. So inventory management is very important. And another side note is try not to overstock up in terms of like carrying too many ready stocks on hand. Like if you're only able to sell, for example, 30 pieces in a week, don't try to carry like 60 or 90 pieces in that week itself, because first of all, you'll take up a lot of space in your storage area. And if your product have got limited shelf life, for example, if your product actually have an expiry date, like it's gonna expire within 3 months or 6 months, for example, you don't want to be carrying too many stocks on hand. That gives yourself additional pressure when it comes to clearing out stocks that is running out, is almost expiring. So you wouldn't want to overstock in terms of product. Okay, so that's all I have for you in terms of the tips on selling on Carousell. Let's say if you have got any question, or you feel that you want to know more in particular about any other topic, feel free to leave at the comment down below, so I can actually create the next video, hopefully that is able to help you in a way or another. So that's all for today. I hope you have learned something for yourself, and happy selling on Carousell. Yeah, thank you so much. Bye bye.